Welcome into another Football Friday night. I knew you'd be back because let's be honest, between the months of August and December, you know the hottest dates you can get on a Friday night is FFN. And incredibly, believe it or not, we are now 8 weeks into this thing, and I can tell you the highlights are bigger, badder, and better than ever. And if you don't believe me, well, I'll put my money where my mouth is. Undefeated Rogers on the road against a tricky Springdale Bulldogs team. First Mounties possession, you can't stop it. You can only hope to contain it. The slant pass, Jeff Regan to Drayson Volk. The Volk show puts him up 7. But the Bulldogs answer. Isaac Abijah off the play action, dropping a pin with this pass because the location was precise, and Easton Hahn solo the rest of the way for the score. However, what follows may be the play of the night. This is witchcraft, and you can't convince me otherwise. I still have no idea how he escaped, but Jeff Regan, you are ridiculous. The magic Mountie man Houdini's his way out, and the tie disappears. And for their next trick, an onside kick recovery that sets up the pop pass to Titus Kramer, who couldn't be more open, even if he was 24/7, 365. And I tell you, with Halloween approaching, Rogers may be the scariest thing you will see this season. They win it 70-14, which may set up something big, but more on that a little bit later. For now, we stay in the 7A. Harbor at Bentonville West, tied at 14 each. Bentonville West punting it away on 4th down, but it's muffed. The Wolverines are going to recover. Big play in special teams. So the very next play, what do? You got the ball back. You might as well take a shot, right? Do it. Trey Thompson gets a solid ball to William Davis. Look at the toe tap Tony on the sideline. That's a Sunday type catch. Then seconds left in the half. Thompson scrambling, looking, trying to find anyone, but it is thrown too high, incomplete. That sets up this kick with time expiring on the clock. Tick, 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 tick. Nick Byrne gets it up and through the uprights to give West the lead heading into the half, and it would be all Wolverines in the second. They score a bunch unanswered to take it 41-14. Let's go ahead and go south a little bit, shall we? Valonia traveled all the way up north to Farmington to take on the Cardinals early in this one. Just how they drew it up. Aiden Lester, here you go. You take it, getting creative to get the first down, but he wasn't done. The very next play, Lester, this time thinking quick, on his feet, 17 fast, the defense furious. They couldn't catch him before he racks up a big gain. So the ball now in the red zone, and the Cards going for it on 4th and 4, but you're not a dad trying to get the family to the airport. You can't just leave early. It's a false start, which means they got to settle for the field goal. They go up 10-0 in the first, and they would stay up, finishing 45-13 by the end to pick up a big win. Well, look, if 3 is a crowd, I have no idea what to tell you is on the other side of the break, because I peeked behind the curtain, and spoiler alert, there are a whole bunch more good games that we got to get to. But before I can let you get back there to see them, we got to pay the bills around here. So here come the ads. Sadly, unlike YouTube, can't skip them, but I can at least send you off to them with more scores and the Springdale Band. Welcome back to FFN. Now, if you caught those first 3 games before the break, you're probably thinking there's no way it can get better. Well, in the immortal words of Bach Turner Overdrive, Google that one, kids, you ain't seen nothing yet. From here to the end of the show, it is hang on to all children and loose belongings. You have been warned type of intense. Buckle up, buckaroos. Here we go, starting with Elkins and Prairie Grove. We find them in the second half, and surprise, the Elks offense is moving. Hunter Smith the carry. The next play, Hunter Smith the touchdown. The ensuing PAT would make it so they get the full 7 experience out of their trip to the paint. 35-8 at this point, Elks. And that Elkins defense was matching the ferocity. Josh Ham, you better bring something better to the party if you're trying to stay. He knocks that away, so it sets up that purple offensive machine. They're going back into motion. Nice little completion, and then put on the bib because he starts eating up that yak. And you already know what's coming. Fear the bugle, baby. Another big win tonight. They take it 54-14. Which means if Gravett could get a win tonight against Berryville, we got a huge game between those two next week, but they got to take care of business first, and so far, Cameron Bedwell is clocked in and working on it. Touchdown Lions. Berryville now trying to get their get back, but it's Gravett pushing forward to get pressure, and it's pushing down on the QB, forcing an incomplete pass. So the Gravett Lions back at it, and in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the Lions eat tonight. Joseph Beam taking the handoff and choosing violence on his way to the end zone as the Lions go on to remain undefeated in 4A play. They get the dub 56-7. Big one against the Elks next week. Sticking in 4A, Green Forest heading south to take on the Lincoln Wolves. Lincoln going to get going and rolling early. QB going to be moving out to his left, delivering a nice little strike to Tucker Odom. And look at this effort. Beats 2 men. He just wants it more for the 6 points, and they're going to stay aggressive. Let's go for 2. Why the heck not? And it's an easy conversion for Tyson Crockwell, who punches it in. And you know we love our special teams here at 5, so how about we show some love? Corbin Price, blocked field goal, erased. You know that's making this week's sweetest plays. We got to give love to the special teams. But not so fast, my friend Lee Corso. We miss you. The Green Forest Tigers make the comeback and get the win 38-35. They were down by 18 points twice during this game. But boy, they respond. They improved to 3-4 on the year. Now, we had a good one in Hillbilly Country. Ozark hosting Pottsville. Apaches with the ball and finding pay dirt. Court Johnson, perfect pass to Keaton Ashmore for the first score. But without hesitation, Ozark is off and running. Easton Fox heading north and south for the answering touchdown. However, Pottsville cocked back and ready to swing their own knockout blow on the ensuing drive. Johnson making a long distance call, connects. However, the Hillbillies, they're the ones doing the victory dance tonight. They take it 51-20. Now, just up the road, Charleston welcomed Lavaca into their house. Tigers roaring and rolling right off the rip. Keaton Morton carrying that one to set up this one. Yes, that is of number 51, and yes, he is barreling into the promised land. Casey Rivas breaks the plane, and the ensuing PAT is good, so Charleston up the full 7 after that one. A little bit later, Charleston chewing up more yards on the ground, and they would ride that trend till the wheels fell off or the clock hit zeros. Tigers get their second straight shutout, 42-0. And now, the biggest rivalry in NWA, Bentonville and Fayetteville. But oh boy, this one was lopsided. Bentonville's QB with the easy escape plan, getting away from defenders, finds a receiver in the end zone. Bentonville drive, next drive, Chris Fickling, 60 yards. Then into the end zone for a 48-10 lead at the half. Fayetteville would push to get back into the game after the break, launching the ball into the air for a 60-yard gain of their own. But the very next play, Bentonville's defense would pick it off, and that would be it for the Tigers starters. A 48-14 blowout, but still a sweet win for the Tigers. Bo Russell has more.
Hey Alex, yeah, well, I'm here at Fayetteville High School where an absolute whooping has just taken place. You know, a crosstown game, Bentonville-Fayetteville rivalry game, big deal. Crowds come hoping for a big kind of close rivalry matchup, but that's not what happened today. It was over almost as soon as it started. You know, I was at the Farmington game before this. I only stayed there about 20 minutes before heading over here. Figured I had plenty of time to get here to see the majority of the game. By the time I got here, it was already like 40-7 or something like that. It was 48-7 going into halftime. So I spoke with Bentonville's head coach as well as their quarterback, who's playing great so far this season. Here's what they had to say.
Very, very proud of the way you played. That is a good football team. It is a good football team, and you just whipped it. All right? Sure. And I'll be honest with you. My expectations were us to freaking get after it. I didn't know it looked like that, but I'm proud of the way you played.
It's great. It's always fun being a team like that. You know, a lot of buddies on that team and a lot of A lot of good talent on that team. It's just fun.
And he's got a good offensive line to protect him. He's got phenomenal receivers out there in the back that's as good as anybody in the state. So, he's got a lot of support, but he's operating, and I'm glad he's on us.
Again, Bentonville's playing fantastic. Not as well as Shohei Ohtani's playing tonight, a little unrelated. 3 home runs and 10 strikeouts. That's insane. But nevertheless, Bentonville had a great game here tonight. Fayetteville, unfortunately, just couldn't match up to Bentonville, who's a great team. I was at that game earlier in the season when they beat the #2 team in Missouri. So Bentonville is shaping up right now to be an absolute powerhouse as we're heading deeper into the season. So unfortunately, this wasn't the game of the week. But Alex, as I understand, there is a game of the week.
Thank you, Bo. You are correct about that, and it is a big one, a massive showdown between 2 teams separated by a 15-minute drive, a newly blossoming rivalry that I'd imagine will age like fine wine. But before we get there, we got to let things breathe for maximum impact. So while we wait, here are the other scores from around the area set to the sounds of the Van Buren Band. When we reach this point in the season, there really isn't a need for extra motivation. Every single game is huge, and just about every single one is in conference. But if you can find a little extra something to make it more spicy, like playing a team less than 15 miles away from you in a newly blossoming rivalry since you're now in the same conference, I say let's dance. And that's exactly what Southside and Van Buren did tonight in our game of the week. Mavericks starting off with the ball, but the Pointers have the arrow going the other direction. Talon Jones intercepts Blake's Forsgren, but they can't cash in. So it's Southside ball again, but Forsgren's picked off again. And must be an NSYNC fan because it's gonna be May. Drake May, give the man 6, and Van Buren the lead. The Dogs are out and all kinds of pumped up. Mavericks once again can't respond, so they're back to punt, but you know the special teams rule. It's gonna be muffed, and there is life, but it's only worth 3 points. However, it's better than nothing because now they're on the board. Second quarter, it's 10-3 Green. More special teams. Pointers block the kick, and they jump on it like the Sugar Hill Gang. However, that Mavs defense stands tall. They keep them pointless, and finally, Southside breaks through. Peyton Zimmerman takes it all the way, and we are tied. But in the end, it would be the Pointers that pull it off. They got that dog in them. Someone let them out, and they are letting loose on this back end of the season. They win 17-10. So for more on their massive victory, Robin Hearn, take center stage, would you?
It's not over until the last dog howls, and in this case, Van Buren the top dog in this 6A matchup against Southside. But a fast start from the Mavericks will put the Pointers in fight mode in order to fight back and be able to take the win. The Pointers started off strong with 3 interceptions in the first half, one being a pick-6 from Darren Mays. Other than that, the only other time the teams would get points on the board were from field goals. Southside opened up the second half, finding the end zone for the first time off of a Pointers fumble, thanks to Peyton Zimmerman cashing it in. But in the fourth, Van Buren found a way and marched down the field and were able to put things away with less than a minute to go. Then the defense would get the sack of Zach Forsgren to end this one. Southside still looking for that first win of conference play in 2025. They'll be back at home next week to host Russellville, while Van Buren on the road against the reigning 6A state champs, Greenwood. In Van Buren, Robin Hearn, 5 News Sports.
Thank you, Robin. And woo, boy, I told you we had a good one for you at the top of the show. And you know what? It's going to just keep on getting better. So I hope to see you back here next week for another fantastic Football Friday night.